Welcome to the Learning Speaking English channel. Take a deep breath. Today, we are going to explore something that can completely change the way you learn, the way you grow, and the way you experience life itself, the art of emptying your mind. When I say, empty your mind, I don't mean to stop thinking or to erase your memories. I mean learning to make space for new thoughts, new words, new ideas, and new experiences. Because your mind is like a room. If it's already filled with old furniture and unused clutter, you'll have no place to bring in anything new. Let's begin our journey. A few years ago in New York City, I met a young woman named Evelyn. She had recently moved from a small town to chase her dream of becoming a writer. Evelyn loved words, but only in the language she had grown up with. When she tried to write in English, she felt stuck. She would spend hours staring at the blank page, waiting for perfect words that never came. One evening, we sat together in a little cafe near Brooklyn Bridge. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. She sighed and said, "I think I'll never be good enough to write in English." I looked at her and asked, "What's stopping you?" She paused, then said, "Maybe my fear. Maybe my old habits." That's when I told her a story about an old Japanese master who once served tea to a visiting scholar. The scholar kept talking and talking, showing off his knowledge. The master quietly poured tea into his cup and kept pouring until it overflowed. The scholar jumped and said, "Stop. The cup is full." The master smiled and replied, "Yes. And like this cup, your mind is full. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?" Evelyn smiled slowly. That evening, she went home and decided to stop forcing perfection. She began to write small sentences in English, short, imperfect, but honest. Months later, her first English article was published online. She sent me the link with a message that said, "I stopped waiting for perfection. I emptied my mind and started learning again." That's where growth begins. When you let go of fear, of old patterns, of constant comparison, you create space to learn. So if you're listening to this and thinking, "My English will never improve," remember Evelyn's story. Don't fight your limitations. Observe them, understand them, and then release them. You can even take inspiration from a classic book, Mindset by Carol Dweck. It teaches a simple truth: people with a growth mindset believe that abilities can be developed through effort and learning. Every time you listen to an English story, watch a video, or speak one new sentence, your brain is growing new connections. You are literally building new possibilities. Let me tell you another story. In a quiet street of London, there was a man named Lucas who played the violin in the subway station every evening. People passed by, some dropped coins, some didn't even look. But Lucas played with deep passion. One day, a music teacher stopped to listen. She noticed the emotion in his playing and said, "Your sound is beautiful, but your technique could be stronger." Lucas felt embarrassed. He had been playing for 10 years. He thought he knew everything about the violin. But that night, he sat alone and thought about her words. The next morning, he decided to attend her class. In the first lesson, the teacher corrected his grip, his posture, and even the way he held the bow. It was uncomfortable, almost humiliating. But Lucas emptied his pride. He accepted that to learn more, he had to become a beginner again. A year later, that same subway musician performed on stage at a local theatre in London. People cheered. The teacher smiled from the front row. Lucas had learned the greatest secret: to grow, you must become empty of ego. So if you're learning English today, be like Lucas. Don't be afraid of being corrected. Each correction is not an insult, it's a gift. A sign that you are learning something new. You see, learning English, or learning anything, is not about memorizing grammar rules or collecting big words. It's about changing how you think. Let's take a small moment here. Close your eyes and say to yourself, I am ready to unlearn what limits me. I am ready to grow. When you say it with awareness, you begin to believe it. I remember another moment, this time in Paris, inside a small art gallery near the Seine River. A young artist named Clara was showing her paintings. They were bright, bold, and wild, but she seemed nervous. She whispered, I feel like I'm not good enough to explain my work in English. My accent is too heavy. I smiled and said, your art speaks louder than any accent. Don't hide it. Share it. That day, she explained her artwork in English for the first time. Yes, she made mistakes. But her confidence lit up the room. A few weeks later, a tourist from Italy bought one of her paintings, because he said her words made him feel something. So remember, it's not about sounding perfect. It's about sounding real. Language is not a wall. It's a bridge. When you speak, you're not showing how much you know, you're showing who you are. Let's take a short reflection moment. Here's your retention exercise for today. Think of one sentence that defines who you are, something positive. It can be as simple as, I am learning. Or, I am becoming better. Now repeat it aloud 3 times, slowly. This is how you start training your mind to learn through belief. When your mind is full of doubt, you stop. When your mind is open and empty, you flow. Let's move to another story, one of my favorites. In San Francisco, there was a young software engineer named Nathan. He worked at a big tech company and dreamed of becoming a creative thinker, not just a coder. But his mind was constantly filled with work pressure, competition, and overthinking. One day, he attended a weekend retreat in the mountains. There, the instructor said, you are not here to learn more information. You are here to forget what blocks you. For the first time in years, Nathan switched off his phone. He sat under the open sky, listening to the wind. He realized how noisy his mind had been, filled with deadlines, notifications, and fears. When he came back, he began a new habit. Every morning, before opening his laptop, he would sit quietly for 5 minutes and breathe. No phone. No thoughts. Just space. That small act changed everything. His focus improved. His creativity expanded. His English communication even became clearer, because now, his words came from calmness, not chaos. He once told me, when I emptied my mind, I finally heard my own voice. So maybe today, you can try it too. Take 5 minutes. Sit in silence. Breathe deeply. You don't have to meditate perfectly, just learn to listen to your inner calm. Do you know what book Nathan read after that retreat? It was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a beautiful guide to staying present. If you want to improve your English and your peace of mind at the same time, read 1 page of that book every day aloud. Not fast, not slow, just mindfully. Feel the words. When you read with presence, your pronunciation, understanding, and memory naturally improve. There's another story, this one about Sophie, a chef in Toronto. Sophie loved cooking, but hated speaking in public. Her restaurant started gaining attention, and one day, a journalist invited her for a live interview in English. She panicked. She said, what if I make mistakes? What if they laugh at me? Her mentor told her something powerful. Sophie, mistakes are proof that you are trying. People won't remember your errors, they will remember your courage. During the interview, she stumbled on a few words, but she laughed gently and continued. Afterward, people praised her authenticity. One comment online said, her honesty made me love her food even more. That's the magic of being real. When your mind is empty of fear, you communicate from your heart. Now, let's pause again for retention reflection. Think of a moment when you stopped yourself from speaking English because you were afraid of making mistakes. Now imagine if you had spoken anyway. What's the worst that could have happened? Probably nothing serious. But you would have gained confidence. So the next time you hesitate, remember Sophie, and speak anyway. As you listen to these stories, you might notice something. Every person, Evelyn, Lucas, Clara, Nathan, and Sophie, found growth only when they emptied their mind of something. Fear, ego, perfection, doubt, or noise. And each of them learned something new about life and themselves. That's what you can learn too. Emptying your mind is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice. Every morning, when you wake up, you have a choice. Will you fill your mind with worry, or will you keep it open for learning? If you choose openness, your English will grow, your confidence will rise, and your life will slowly begin to change shape. Here's another little exercise you can try today. Take your notebook and write this question. What do I need to let go of today to grow tomorrow? Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's comparison. Maybe it's the idea that you're not good enough. Write it down. Then, right below it, write this line. I am learning every day, and that is enough. Keep that page where you can see it daily. This one small reminder can shift your entire mindset. Before we close, I want to share one last thought, the one that ties all of this together. There's a quiet cafe in Amsterdam where I sometimes sit and write. I once met an old traveler there named William. He had spent 30 years exploring the world, without a smartphone, without social media, just a small journal and a pen. I asked him what he had learned from all his travels. He said, "The moment I stopped trying to be someone, I started becoming myself." That's what it means to empty your mind, to stop filling it with other people's opinions and start discovering your own truth. William wrote a sentence in my notebook before leaving. It said, "A full mind argues. An empty mind listens." Those words stayed with me. Because when you truly listen, to others, to yourself, to life, learning becomes effortless. You no longer chase English fluency as a goal, you become fluent by living, speaking, and feeling through the language. So, my friend, wherever you are listening from, maybe your home, your car, or your evening walk, remember this. You don't have to know everything. You just have to stay open. Speak without fear. Learn without ego. Grow without comparison. And each time you forget this, simply pause, breathe, and begin again. Empty your mind, and watch how beautifully you start to learn and grow. If you liked this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more such stories.